Here, another Thursday, another Carvers and Creators. Yes. Hello and welcome to Season 2, Episode 22 of Carvers and Creators, a weekly demonstration and discussion with pumpkin carvers, sculptors, and multi-talented artists. We please ask that you give us a like and a follow on the platform you're watching us on. Let us know in the comments where you're watching from and if you have any questions for the carvers and our special guests. Let's meet the carvers. First, he's an artist and sculptor from Boston, Massachusetts. He's a 2019 champion of Food Network's Outrageous Pumpkins. Paul Dever, welcome.
Hey, Paulie.
Hey. Happy Thursday, everybody.
Good to see you.
Happy Thursday to you, too. Next, he's a multimedia sculpture artist from Tucson, Arizona, and a finalist on Halloween Wars 2019 on the Food Network, Matt Harper.
Hey, guys. Howdy. Happy Thursday.
Howdy.
Our guest tonight is a comedian, ventriloquist, and puppet builder who has over 1 million followers on TikTok. From Plano, Texas, please welcome Landon Harvey. Welcome.
Hey, thanks, guys. Happy to be here.
Well,
Love the
So glad
show.
to have you.
Oh,
Thanks for joining us.
this is exciting.
Totally.
My name is Michael Mondragon. I'll be running the show, moderating comments, and chiming in from time to time.
Handsome devil. Look at
Oh, oh, pshaw. So let's look at our carvings from last week. Matt, you actually had, your carving was so dimensional that I actually have two pictures of it, from one from the top, one from the bottom. So it was a euphoric clown was what the wheel shows. So tell us more about this.
Well, yeah. Well, for me, it was a struggle to not color it. That was I was trying, in my mind, I was trying to say, what is a clown that doesn't look like a clown and it's one color? And that was like the hardest thing. So I had to throw everything at it that looked like a clown. So the ruffles, the add-on nose, the silly, goofy hair and the hat and stuff. And then when it all came down, it's a really long piece of produce, like this. So it's hard to put that into one picture. So thank you for the double take, Nikki. Yeah.
I definitely want to give it from the top because it has so much more dimension to it.
So good.
Unbelievable. The ruffles, dude. You've got the ruffles down.
I've done this another set of ruffles in my life, and those are it's like a fun thing to carve. It's like anyway.
Really? You and I are polar opposites on that. It's so time consuming. I mean, you nail it. You do it so good. Even the hat. The hat's you hit all those elements perfect. I even love the wig.
Yeah, and he's got that that little, it's just the skin of the thing on top. And honestly, it was okay. Paul and I struggle with this, Landon. Sometimes we'll carve for an hour and a half live and with you and have fun and laugh, and then the cameras go off, and then the oh my god sets in, and you're like, okay, now I have to make this look like we said it was going to look. So I probably spent 2.5 more hours on it after so it was a labor of love, I think, at the end. But anyway. Yeah.
So Andrew just joined. Thank you, Andrew, for joining. The material it's a butternut squash, correct?
Yeah, just one of these big dogs. You see it like a big peanut you see when you're walking around in the produce aisle, but it's a squash that's totally solid on top, and it's got a little seed cavity inside. So you always try to watch out for that before you break through. But
sure, yeah, you got to know your limits.
Yeah, it's not that thick in the bottom. So,
and then here's Paul's. Unbelievable! Look at the detail in that. So good.
So good.
Stop it. It's okay.
Paul, you seriously have this knack. Your eyes are not yours. Yours are fine, but what you carve are every damn week. I'm like, damn it, that's the bars up again. They're always so good. So good.
I'd like to hear that. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it, guys. Yeah, this was like you were saying though, Matt. I carved for an hour and a half last week, and we were talking and listening, and I really didn't have good direction. And then when I went back at it later, I'm like, well, I got to rehaul this thing because it's nothing like what I'm thinking now. It's from the time you spin the wheel and you're like, okay, I got to start carving. You don't have that good concept in your head. You have a loose sketch, right? So how does an artist get to where he's going? You start with your sketch and then you erase a lot. But in our case, we can't erase anything. So you got to gingerly try to find those forms until you really pick the path you want to go down. So this was a complete overhaul. The only thing that I kept were the front teeth. Everything else got reworked.
Wow.
Fantastic.
But that is not a butternut squash. That is a kaboka squash. And what I do is I snapped off the stem. It had that great stem, and then I turned it up like this.
Yeah. So it gives it the dimension almost of a butternut, like this kind of squat. But you're looking at the side of a squash.
Yeah,
right?
you turn it on its side. And just be known, the only thing that I glued on, about the stem, obviously, because it doesn't belong there, are the ears. I didn't glue on the nose. That thing, because of the shape.
Oh, okay. You had so much
profile.
room.
I was able to dig all the way in, and it had a good profile too. It was a completely round nose coming in. I dug up under it and everything. Like the sides of the nostrils are almost busted through, but not completely. But that was a completely rounded nose.
And then what's the donor stem from?
What's the what?
The donor stem.
The donor stem is from that kaboka squash, which grew in my backyard accidentally from me chucking them every week. One they took, and my wife during the fall cleanup, my wife and my sister-in-law found a whole bunch of them. So I got like free produce this year. So thanks, clown.
Well, Landon, I'd like to introduce you to the fourth member of Carvers and Creators responsible for choosing our carving subject tonight. It is the hollow wheel, the center spinner, and Paul is going to tell us more about it right now.
Uh-oh.
Hi, guys and girls. Happy Thursday. Here's the wheel. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to spin the wheel 2 times. First time is going to be the subject. Second time will be the emotion. And it's up to us to tie it all together on some sort of perishable item. So this week we have, in honor of our distinguished guest, we have Puppet. We also have Karen, Cryptozoology for 1,000, Nerdy, Botched Plastic Surgery, Parasite, Guest Choice, Amphibian, Primate, and Macho. Good choices. Okay. So for the second spin, we got to choose between sulking, hysterical, bored, irritated, drunk, grizzled, stoned, euphoric, charismatic, repulsive.
Yeah. Wow.
I quit.
Yeah.
Now
let her fly.
Let the anxiety begin. Oh, botched plastic surgery.
Oh, nice. Okay, I'm writing this one down.
Oh boy. Drunk, botched plastic surgery.
Oh my
goodness. Oh goodness me.
Oh, how is
that? Wheel.
Oh, you wheel. Go ahead and just break that thing at this point.
It's happening. It's getting kind of loose. It's been
so. Landon, this has to become what you just heard. I don't know. I have trouble.
Where do you start with that? Jeez.
Anxiety. I think that's where I'm going to start.
on both ends of the spectrum. So.
Oh.
All right. So I've committed it to the chat. So it shall be done. Botched plastic surgery is the topic. So if you're carving with us or creating with us, we're going to give you 5 minutes to get all your tools together. And so we usually have carving oil since we have a youngster with us. I think Matt, you have an alcoholic beverage, but I think that Matt and I are.
Hang on, just to be clear, a youngster, he's 21. So
yeah, right.
I am.
50 states, Mickey. Yeah, we're good now.
I was going to say, be respectful.
I know.
Just to add gas to the fire there, Mickey. Everybody's a youngster now at this point, Steve.
That's true. Right? That's true.
You get out of my lawn, kids. Get out of my lawn, you damn kids. Okay, yeah. So.
As someone who just went around the sun for another time, everybody's younger than me.
Yeah.
I mean, Matt, what do you got?
I'll help get you off the hook here. So I picked a kind of a interesting one. I think it's Blue Moon, which is kind of a known one, but it's mango wheat. So it's kind of like having my fruit and my vegetables and my bread all in one drink. So
all in one loaf.
Right. They get a loaf of bread.
They don't make bad beer though.
It's true.
I think that'll be
pretty good. it's pretty mass produced, but it was the thing that actually looked good at the grocery store. So
Matt's all about the color of the can, not the flavor inside.
Yes. Yes.
The tasty looking can.
Yes.
Landon, are you having anything tonight?
I am. I am enjoying a Coke Zero.
You.
Yes.
Whoa.
And we can be sure there's zero alcohol in it, which is great.
Zero alcohol, zero sugar, and it's my go-to when I'm building puppets in the hot Texas climate that is my garage. So
Perfect.
Right on.
Perfect.
Awesome. Paulie, what are you drinking?
Yeah, Paul, what do you got?
Well, I certainly don't have a hot Texas garage because it's cold as hell by my sweatshirt in my basement. I have Harpoon Big League. It's a lovely beverage. It's,
Nice.
What do we got here? We got 12 FLOZs, right? 7.2.
Wow.
It's a big and juicy IPA.
Oh, lucky you.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm dry in January and I'm hating life and I can't wait I cannot wait to come back strong in February. Trust me, I'm like a fiend. I'm coming in, but I got Bulletproof my cold brew latte. So it's
you love that Bulletproof. Well, good news for you.
Yeah.
The shaking has slowed down.
Yeah,
you're not shaking as much as last week.
The DTs, you've gotten through the DTs, Mickey, which is all.
I'm not that bad, but it's getting there. Definitely. So
hey,
go ahead.
Sorry, sorry to interrupt the flow here, but can I ask, where are all these wonderful vector images we've been expecting to see?
Oh yes.
I remember Mickey was all in on this.
There was a declaration.
He gave quite the speech.
If
I remember correctly.
I did. And there's a fun story and there's not so fun story about it. But yes, I am remiss.
Let's go with fun.
I will definitely say I am definitely behind on some stuff. So but you're right. And thank you for hazing me because I do need that. All good artists need to be pushed and pushed to their limits. So
and you never have to thank me for hazing. It's one of my favorite things to do.
He's actually very good at it. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're King Hazy. But thank you. I appreciate that. So Landon, like let's start with like your recent. I mean, you just celebrated this like 1 million TikTok followers, and you started in 2019 on TikTok, and it was pretty inauspicious, right?
Yeah, it was crazy. I started in 2019. Back then there were a lot less people on the app. I think they said it's tripled since then or some crazy number. But back when I was on it, there weren't a lot of artists and it had just switched. It probably had been TikTok for a year after previously being Musical.ly. So it was mostly people that were lip syncing and dancing to videos. And I thought, what if, what's a quick way where I can try out jokes and new puppets to see if they work? What if I got on this app? I've been hearing a lot about it. And then I just started posting and it's just really grown from there.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So
when I post, it doesn't do that. Not at all.
He's got content. He's got so much damn content. Paul, that's the one thing that is like every time we put something on Instagram, stuff like that, we feel like we've done this Herculean task because it's making something that took hours to do. You have stuff up every damn day. It seems like you've got cool new things all the time. So it's really impressive to watch.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I just try to keep busy with everything. And if I'm out and about somewhere, I've made it a rule to myself that I can't go anywhere without bringing a puppet with me. Because if I don't, then something will happen or I'll end up at some fair or event where I'm like, this would be perfect for a video or a photo or whatever. So even if it's a small puppet, I just throw it in the car. But yeah, I try to provide content on everything I'm doing and make the most of every video. Yeah.
Right on.
So do you
working?
Yeah, it certainly is. Do you do a lot of again, this is a dumb question because I don't know the answer to it when it comes to like social media. I'm a little bit inept, but when it comes to creating a video, do you put that same video on all of the different platforms? Is that how that works, or do you do something exclusive for some and make TikTok only? Or I guess you do lives too. So
Yeah, it's kind of, I heard someone once say, don't like if you're on TikTok, don't just, and you're on other social media platforms, don't just post your TikToks everywhere else, because you want to give people value in following you on other platforms, which
Right.
makes a lot of sense. So like on Instagram, I post stuff about my life or about different puppets that I'm working on. I actually have a whole nother Instagram account just for that, so I don't bombard people with my puppet builds every day or every week, should I say. But yeah, I do with the TikTok live streams. I have a podcast called Landon Live that I do that's primarily on YouTube, and then I have certain YouTube series that I've created that is more longer content than just the 15 to a minute video that you'll see on my TikToks.
Very smart. Very smart.
Yeah, because when I see your stuff, and I've got teenage daughters who are huge fans of yours. In fact, they're TikTok fanatics as well. And I told them you were going to come on our show, and they're like, "Wait, Landon is going to be on your show?" I'm like, yes, kids. I'm not completely out of touch, but yeah, it was really fun to kind of take their lead and see a whole bunch of stuff that they find really fun on your show. So it was a really, because I certainly knew who you were, and when we wanted you to come on, but kind of seeing it through the eyes of a younger person who watches all the lives and stuff like that was really cool too. So yeah, you got a lot of great stuff on your sites.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, the lives are crazy. I think I go live for anywhere from like 30 minutes to an hour on TikTok every few nights during the week, and I just improvise and chat with the followers and kind of show what I've been working on, and it's a neat thing. And then people can join in, and we post the highlights of that to YouTube, so that it becomes a whole nother form of content. And I used to post more of it on TikTok, and now I've just started, I kind of go with the flow in terms of what hits and what doesn't on TikTok, because the algorithm's always changing, and you see people that have a consistent video format and then those that don't, and some people succeed with this, some people succeed with that, and you just gotta kind of try everything.
Really. So since this is kind of your main gig, I mean, not necessarily the social media part, but since this is like you certainly become a student of that, right? I mean, you're always kind of working on the algorithm and what's hitting, what isn't, what's resonating, what isn't. I guess that's part of the job, right?
Of course, yeah. It's difficult because you want to compare yourself. Like, I want to compare my puppet ventriloquism account to like the guy that pretends to be Elmo on TikTok that's got like 30 million followers or whatever. But like he started that with everyone already knowing who Elmo was.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Where it's like you really have to just kind of, I compare myself. I'm more competitive on what I haven't done yet for like myself and where I want to be as a brand and as a performer and as a content creator. And so I'm constantly just kind of figuring out what's next for me versus kind of looking outward. And I sometimes take inspiration from the other creators and trends or whatever, but it really becomes a race on what's next, what's relatable, and figuring out what characters do people enjoy to see more or want to see more of.
Wow. Okay. Did you? I'm bogarting all the questions. Sorry, Mickey. I'll let you.
No, go for it.
I got a million. But so when, from an inspiration standpoint, I know having seen a lot of your stuff and being completely amazed by your ability to say the alphabet and converse really fluidly with your puppets and stuff like that. So who in ventriloquism was your big inspiration? You had to have some, like, who's your Michael Jordan kind of thing?
It's difficult because I think over the years it's changed. When I was a kid, when I was 6 years old, my favorite ventriloquist, his name is Dennis Lee, and he does a lot of school shows in Texas, and he travels outward too. But I was 6 years old. He was the first ventriloquist I had ever seen, and he has this, he came to our school. He had this huge set, and he had these puppets, and I was so captivated by his performance and the ventriloquism, and he had the message. I think it was for like Red Ribbon Week, but it was so fascinating. That's what got me into the art. And then I grew up and I saw people like Jeff Dunham on TV, and then Terry Fader winning season 2 of America's Got Talent. And then currently, like, one of my favorite ventriloquists, he's from very popular in Australia. His name's David Strassman, and I absolutely love his act. I've had him on my my podcast Landon Live actually, but you know, I love the theatrics, you know, taking ventriloquism. There's so many different forms. There's Jeff Dunham is like a stand-up comedian with puppets. Yeah. And then like, you know, Terry Fader is like the impressionist with puppets. Yeah. And then David Strassman is like a theatrical show where it's got like a beginning, a middle, and an end with puppets, which I think is just really neat. It's like a one-man show, but you know, your cast members are puppets. And I kind of gravitate more toward that and something that I want to go into. But I'm inspired by all of them in different ways, really.
Wow.
Yeah. Does that answer your question?
No. Very, very well, including Terry Fader. I know having him, he won, like you said, America's Got Talent season 2. But if you ever go to Vegas, and you'll see his name, he's on every damn sign. That's right. In Vegas. And I remember going years ago, Terry Fator, what is that? and then you see the puppets everywhere behind him. And I understand that you've made puppets for Terry.
Whoa, I have. Yes.
Badass. That's so cool.
It's a crazy story. He had a scholarship for young ventriloquists where you would apply to it on his website. And if you won, you got to go to the ventriloquist convention, which is a whole nother thing in itself. We have 700 ventriloquists all over the world attend, and it's in like Kentucky, and there's a museum, and it's crazy. And if you won, you got like money toward a new puppet. You got to go to this convention, and I applied one year. I really thought I was going to get it. I didn't. I was really down on my luck the next year. My dad is like my biggest supporter. He was a ventriloquist when he was younger, but he never really pushed it on me. But I got into it, so he's kind of like lived vicariously through me and like all of my accomplishments. He told me, he's like, just try out for it this year. And I did, and I ended up winning. And that's how Terry kind of found out about what I did. And then he followed me on Facebook when I built within my first 5 puppets. He bought the first 3 that I put out there in a video. He reached out to me and bought those. And then since then I built him a bunch of stuff. Most recently I built him a Bernie Sanders puppet that he did a bit with. And then I built him 2 other puppets that he's going to be revealing soon. And I also created this rock star guy with this crazy orange hair. And you can see some of those videos on his YouTube channel. So it's been fun. I love working with people like Terry and people that challenge my creativity and my artistry. And, you know, I have another guy named John Peasy, who he's from New York, and he wanted an alien whose brain lit up different colors, and he wanted the eyebrows to move up and down. And, you know, on a soft puppet, that's more difficult than making it in a hard figure where you can cast the head and you know, just put the mechanics in. So it's a challenge, but I love working with people on that and getting them something that, you know, achieves their goal for their performance.
Wow. And guys, he's 21, just so you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Right. My goals were to have enough beer money for Friday on Monday. Yeah. That's 21.
Yeah. Who am I going to be chasing this weekend? Yeah, that was my whole thing.
Well, Len is also a friend of our friend, a friend of the show. Yeah, Terry Harden. So tell us more about this.
Crazy story. So this past October, I was in California. I got to perform at Dick Van Dyke's Halloween party.
Was Ray there?
Was Ray
there? Yeah.
Not that I know of.
Okay.
I think he was there last year, but not this year. And but I got to perform, and then I found out because I follow Terry. She was on my podcast, and we're friends. I found out that she was holding this pumpkin sculpting class, and it was about an hour from where I was staying, so I was able to attend. And of course, there's me with my puppet Bill the Zombie, and I sculpted Bill in a pumpkin, and that was the first actual instruction I've ever had for it. So that was a blast, and I got to hang out with Terry, and we had a lot of fun. Yeah,
very cool. She's great. I love Terry.
She is so awesome.
Wildly creative.
When you start talking to her, it's like these tangents she goes off on. Every one of them are like, "Wait, what? You did that too? Wait, what?" And yeah, it's 2 hours later, you're still in awe.
Yeah, she's lived an incredibly artistic life, you know, and yeah, she's amazing. And you also, but you also, I'm gonna go through some pictures here. So like, I definitely want you to comment on them. So like, is this the real David Copperfield? Is this?
Yeah, that is.
It is. It looks a lot like a cardboard cutout because that's the face he makes in every photo.
I was gonna say, I was like, I hope this is him and not an impersonator. But I was like,
it looks
okay.
like it easily could have been Photoshop, which I realized after posting it, which makes it that much more funnier. But yeah, we were Scott and Lisa Land. Scott Land is a well-known marionette performer, and they hold these different seminars in Las Vegas, and they know David, and they held a class on ventriloquism. And I knew the basics of ventriloquism. This was this past year, but I wanted to go to a class, and part of the class was you got to meet David Copperfield and visit his private museum, which he has a magic museum and then a ventriloquist museum with a bunch of different puppets that are well known from the ages, and it was amazing.
Wow,
that is
I
crazy.
didn't even know he was into ventriloquism. That's like a dawned on me just now. It's like I knew he was a magician, but
he had told us that he started before he started magic. He did ventriloquism, and he's horrible at it, but he's always loved the art. And so he's got some of Edgar Bergen's original ventriloquist figures, and Lamb Chop, Sherry Lewis and Lamb Chop. And, just walking through there, it's like oh my gosh, it's hard to fathom. But he has people that just watch over this whole area. It's really an experience when you walk through it, because music plays, and he's got a little remote where he different scenes pop up, and he's got cabinetry from names that I've never known of in magic, but that sound crazy and elaborate, and different people that go different locations to do his bidding, and he's always adding to his collection. When we were there, he had a whole new room that he was devoting to just ventriloquist figures that he was moving the old ones out of just to make more space. So it's crazy. I mean, you talk about a collector and a lover of magic and ventriloquism, and there's no one bigger than David Copperfield, and very great guy, nice guy, and he answered all of our questions. I got to do a little bit with my zombie for him, which was neat, and take this photo. So it was a very memorable experience, and I was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
cool.
It's tremendous. And I didn't realize this when I was going through a lot of your pictures and stuff like that. And seeing the like not only the people that you've met, and the things that you've done, but it's like it really reminded me, as someone who's easily over twice your age. I was like, what? I said like puppetry and ventriloquism, all this stuff has actually been in my life, and I haven't really realized it. When I saw this picture, I went berserk. Willie Tyler and Lester.
Willie Tyler and Lester. Yes,
I remember him. I remember that.
Oh my God, I was so happy to see this.
Lester looks great.
Yeah, he does.
He does. I got to see Willie Tyler and Lester perform this past year at the Vent Haven Ventriloquist Convention, and it was fantastic. He has I believe it's a documentary called "Hello Dummy," if that's right. I believe that's what it's called, coming out, and he was there to promote that, as well as I got to he performed, and we all got to see him perform, and I actually was able to get this photo with him, which is just one of my most cherished photos, because he's been a big inspiration. And he's still working, he's still busy, and he does like YouTube videos and stuff with Lester, and it's hilarious. I don't know if you follow him on Facebook, but his content on Facebook is fantastic, and talk about staying current, and just one of the event icons that's still working is just fantastic. So I got a picture with him and Lester, and me and my jackalope. And funny story behind that is he was at his table, and I was at the table next to him with a guy named Bob Rumba, who I built puppets for and is a longtime friend of mine. And I said, I'd love to get a picture with him. And he's like, oh, I'm sure he'd take out Lester. And I said, really? And he goes, oh yeah, I'll ask him. And he goes, hey, Landon wants a photo with you. Could you get out Lester? And so he pulls out this little, black trunk, opens it, pulls out the figure, and it's just like, oh my God. And this is after I'd seen him perform it, which is such a neat, magical experience. And getting that photo with him meant the world to me. So that was a check off my bucket list for sure. And
Very
sweetest
cool.
guy too. Just great.
And where was this? Because where does he perform?
I don't know where he's based, but this was at the Vent Haven International Ventriloquist Convention in Kentucky. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
And we have, I think Dunham's there every year or almost every year, and we have a lot of the big names in ventriloquism, and we also have a junior mic competition where like the young ventriloquists get to compete and perform, and we also have a senior mic, and it's just a really great opportunity for people who want to learn more about the art, and then also people that have been ventriloquists for years come back together, and it's like a family.
Yeah, that's cool.
So this show, I mean, Paul and I, when we were originally just thinking about it, it was, we were so in the weeds with pumpkins, and we were like, we love doing it. We can't get around it. And then we came up with the name Carvers and Creators. So one of the things that's beautiful about this is your ability to create these amazing puppets, and you've got a ton of them, which is, of course, we're going to put you on the spot at some point and want to meet some of these people, but
sure.
But the fact that you create them, that you're fabricating them from nothing, is mind-boggling too. And I've got a daughter that is a huge, again, she's a huge fan of yours, so I'll stop gushing. But she also has made puppets, and
cool.
Probably gone on and seen some of the process stuff. So I guess the roundabout question is, like, when it comes to you designing one of these things from scratch, because I know like the ones you made for Terry or the ones you're making just for your own show. I mean, how do you start? How do you do? Is it come up with an idea in your head, and then a sketch, and then there's just so many moving pieces, and I'm just enamored by that.
Yeah, it's interesting. It starts different ways. Like for me as a performer, it started like my zombie. I had the voice for him, but then I was trying to find the puppet and the character, and then I realized later on that if it was a whiny zombie, it would be funny because zombies are always groaning and moaning. What if it was actually complaining in the material? And that's how I came up with my characters. But like when I'm building a puppet for a client, it usually starts with defining what they want. What are the main characteristics? Like when when they pull the puppet out, what kind of reaction do you want the audience to gasp? Do you want them to laugh? How do you want the character to be seen? And then I take that and combine it into a sketch and refine that sketch until I get what they want. And then we start the actual build. So I brought this. This is a sketch of a puppet. This is just kind of every once in a while when I don't have an order in, I will just do like a one-off to kind of challenge my abilities. And I've been really working on my sketches. I sketched this old man here. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh, wow.
And just really, really cartoony, goofy looking. And I took that head, and I've been working on patterning foam, and this is what I have so far, just in the foam here.
Oh my God!
It's coming along.
Let's do that. So when his mouth opens, it's like that, and
oh yeah,
he'll be an old man. I'll cover this with fleece. This is just the foam structure here and the cheek patterning and everything. But you have the base of the head, then you build it up, and the brow and the nose will be, sewn on separately. But everything's there for the reference.
Wow!
So,
wow!
Yeah.
That's very cool. What kind of glue do you use for the seams on that kind of foam?
I use a contact cement.
Just contact cement? Nice.
Yep. Wellwood contact cement and a hair dryer to speed it up.
There's nothing worse than waiting. I know from doing fabrication like that's usually what does me in, because I'm like, this takes too long to dry.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. I'm so impatient.
And is that like upholstery foam?
This is this is called dry fast. It's what the Muppets use, actually. It's I don't know the technical term. I just know that it's called dry fast foam. And what I love about it is that it's used on, I believe, outdoor cushions. So if the cushion gets wet or whatever, it dries well, and it doesn't mold or anything like that, which is great because I build these for performers that are performing outside and in all these different locations where they want a puppet that's dependable and isn't gonna weather easily. So I use that, and then to stitch it, I use I use like an outdoor upholstery thread, which is like a thick thread, and I hand stitch with that and stitch on the machine with that, so it's like super durable. And that's something I've learned over building for different people that creating a consistent, durable puppet is very important as the character itself.
Oh
yeah. You gotta make it to last. When you put the fleece over, right? That's the next step.
Yeah.
And is that also contact cement, and then you're just kind of pushing it into the creases and stretching it, or is that like also cut out, or what's that typical?
Yeah, it can be done a few ways. Sometimes you just take a I guess a rectangle of fleece, and you can pull it over the face. Sometimes you can pattern certain areas if you want to contour, depending on the cheeks and how the facial structure is. But I typically use contact cement and I don't cover the whole face in it, but certain areas that I want more defined, I'll put contact cement in, and then I can always go back and stitch in certain areas and then highlight over that if it's like an old person. Or if, like in this case, I'll get my zombie here to show you what a finished puppet looks like. Here we go. And he's got, you see on the side, he's got this cheekbone, and I ended up stitching into this right here to get that, and then shadowed it to get the dramatic structure.
Yeah.
Hello. Hey, I know them. You do? Yeah. This is Carvers and Creators. It is. I love this show. That's great. Yeah. My Nugget likes it too. Your Maggot? Yeah, Nugget, say hello. Hi. Oh, that's Maggie. Hello. How's it going?
I'm not carving anymore, Paul.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that. That's amazing.
I love that.
Is the Maggot a subscriber as well?
Is she? Oh, sure. Yeah. Great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Maggie, you're the best. Thank you for subscribing, Maggie.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah.
Tell your friends.
Oh, sure. The whole maggot community. Yeah. All right.
I'm surrounded by maggots.
Great.
Awesome.
And then, you clothe them. I use I buy children's clothing, and then I tailor it to fit the puppet, which is great.
Yeah.
Oh, right on.
You know exactly what you want. Like he's wearing a suit here.
Yeah.
And that
Well,
works out.
the poor guy died, and they had to bury him, so they put him in a suit.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Gotta create the story. Right. Yeah, he gets it. Right. Yeah. This is the third version of the zombie puppet that I've built. The first one was kind of a test to see if the character worked, and then it did, and then I built the second one, and I had a cartoonist do a cartoon of that second version of the puppet, and the cartoon looked a lot better than the actual puppet did, and I loved the design for the cartoon, and so I said, you know what, I'm going to go with the cartoon design, and when I rebuild them, I'm going to make them look more dramatic, more caricature zombie, and that's what I did on this version, and this is the one that I'm happy with, and I've been making a bunch of different content with since. So, the evolution.
The maggot is such a great little ad. So when you're doing the, and I see its mouth opens and closes. I imagine there's the finger. I mean, I won't go into all those questions behind the scenes, but I mean, it's so beautiful to see that you're thinking of all of those cool add-ons that are like the eyebrows and the, all those things that are so, just make it come alive, like a lot more than some random open mouth puppet.
Thank you. Yeah. Before we started, Paul was showing me this helmet of Animal, and Animal is one of my favorite Muppets, and he's got the unibrow, which just on a basic puppet face adds so much expression. So I wanted that with my zombie, and I added of course the moving eyebrows, and then Maggie was actually an afterthought, because I can't operate the eyebrows and the maggot at the same time, and so I actually added Maggie later on, but it's weird because I can't perform with Bill the Zombie for my TikTok audience without having Maggie. They like the back and forth of the two characters, and it's been a weird introducing that character in to the dynamic of me with the character of Bill the Zombie, but people love it, and he's become probably my most popular character to my audience. So it's neat how those things kind of grow and evolve and change. And that little maggot thing is so simple, but it's taken me it took me hours to figure out. But it's definitely, once you get something like that really works, it's like, okay, it was worth it. All the time and failure, past failures that took you to get to that point. So
love it.
It's a genius idea too. I'm racking my brain trying to think of another puppet setup that has two characters in one. Like you have a whole show built into one hand.
Yeah, exactly.
But then it comes to the voices, right? Because you have to have a different voice for Maggie, and you have to,
right.
And so is it a struggle ever to like get? I guess you have to practice on this. I mean, I'm sure you do. But when it comes to like,
right.
I want to do Biscuit the dog, and then I'm going to switch hands. I'm going to put on, and the same voice has to come out of Biscuit when you get back to him that you did the first time. So is it just kind of muscle memory in your throat? I'm trying to think of how that.
Yeah, you know, it's
keep the voices the same.
You get so used to it that it becomes less of like you giving a voice to an inanimate object. It's more like you're going to pick up a character, and that sounds kind of weird, but it's like you get so used to it that it's just kind of the voice is just there with the puppet. Like I don't really mix up the voices unless I'm doing ventriloquism so quickly that like it would do that. I think I did that on last night's live stream. I mixed up Bill and Maggie's voice because they were going back and forth really fast. So people want to see that, watch me get tongue tied. But yeah, no, you know, I think having distinct voices helps with that. You know, Bill the zombie is this, you know, sad, you know, lower voice zombie, and then Maggie the Maggot's up here. You know, that makes it easier to kind of jump. And then, you know, Biscuit is just, you know, this kind of southern country accent that where's the biscuit gets all, you know, riled up. And so having those distinct voices and really working on those and making sure that they're different helps a lot. I have another character that's an old man named Mervin, and his voice is similar to Biscuit's. So I don't perform them near each other. I'll put like Bill the zombie in between them to kind of break it up. But Mervin's voice is right here. And Biscuit's voice is higher and raspier and, you know, kind of has more of a different nature to it. So it really kind of comes down to just the practice, and just I've been doing this for so long with these characters, just these live streams where I bring like 3 or 4 puppets out, that it just becomes second nature.
Yeah.
And you know the characters so well that it's
not even a question. Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, the voices in my head just come on their own. Like I don't have to practice or anything. They're just there.
And they're always different.
Always.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes they're inspired by people that I know. Like there's parts of Mervin that are inspired by grandparents or people that I've met or something that I'll hear, even like an idea, or I'll be at the mall and someone will say something and I go, how can I turn that into a joke? Or how can I take that mannerism and add it to one of my puppets? And that's what makes it killer, is because then it becomes relatable. You know, people want to share it and people relate to it, and it provides a great base for comedy.
Oh, heck yeah. You were talking about the support you get from your dad, because I mean, when you're young and you want to go do this full time, this is your passion. It's you know, it's so foreign to me, and I'll just dare to say Paul too, potentially, and maybe Mickey. When it came to like knowing what you wanted to do, I had to like, you know, I'm 3 years into college and I'm like, oh wait, I'm about to graduate, I better pick something, you know, as opposed to, you know, being young like you and having kind of a path set. So that support probably means the world when it comes to, hey, I'm going to go do this. This is my passion. This is going to be me from here on out. So was there a moment that you were like, you know what, this is it. This is what I'm going to do. And when was that moment?
Oh gosh. I would say there were 2 moments. When I was 6 years old, I saw Dennis Lee perform, and that's when I fell in love with the art of ventriloquism. And since age 6, I've been doing ventriloquism. I started performing back in, like, professionally back probably 2017, 2018. But back in 2020, I dropped out of community college to pursue this. And I figured, I said, I'm going to, like, everyone here really is kind of here and they don't really know what they want to do. And it's like, I'm devoting so much time to something which in a few years I'm going to get out and then just resort back to my art and ventriloquism and performing, that why don't I just put all my effort into it right now and just really hone in on that. And that was kind of it for me. And my parents have always been really supportive. And of course, the landmarks, like 1 million followers and these different things, you know, meeting celebrities and being able to learn from them is very helpful. Not just for my career, but them seeing that I'm doing stuff, of course, aside from the shows. And so there's different pivotal points in my career that have pushed me to pursue this full time. And the puppet building has added to it. And that, when I'm not performing, I put the money I get from performing into puppet building. And then when I sell a puppet, I put that money back into my branding or, the next show I'm going to do. So they kind of feed off of each other.
Wow.
Sounds like you took a business class at least while you were at community college.
Yeah, exactly. Something paid off.
Yeah.
But I also think it's about creating your own opportunities when you're doing these types of things. So you're just not sitting around. You're actually looking for, performance gigs. You're looking to do you got the opportunity to build these puppets for people and saying like, hey, I can do this for other people as well. Make it a vocation. So it's like that you're years ahead of, so many people when it comes to that.
Thanks.
Yeah, community college, you can go back anytime you want. So.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's always there. Yeah,
it'll always be there.
You could probably be teaching a class at that point.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
But you also
sorry.
Go for it, Paul.
I was going to say the teaching aspect of it. Is that something that's in your future? You think you want to teach people how to build puppet workshops and all that? Share the knowledge?
Yeah, I would love to. I've had a lot of some TikTok followers reach out that they enjoy ventriloquism and they want to learn how to build their own puppet. And I've inspired people, which is weird because you don't going into it. I didn't realize that I would be inspiring people. I just posted stuff because I enjoyed it and I wanted to show what I was working on. But I would love to one day do like a formal puppet building class because there's so many different ways that you can do it. And I have my company, The Original Dummy, which is the name under which I build puppets for people. I have a YouTube channel for that, and I show little things here and there of how I create puppets and time-lapse videos. I'm working on some of those right now, but I'd love to do a longer kind of seminar or maybe an online class where people can tune in and watch my process.
That's a good
can I ask a question on that same? It's a great topic, Paul. When it comes to long-term goals, because we've got a good friend in the show, Ted Haynes, who's the foam fabber. He's been in Hollywood for 30 years and is absolutely mind-bogglingly good at making these very realistic looking. He did one for a recent show that had very specific figures and immediately identifiable kind of portrait sculptures in puppet. Do you see yourself kind of going on the entertainment route because you're damn good when it comes to ventriloquism, or is it kind of a hybrid of building, teaching, and then also doing that, or I guess it's just where the wind takes you? What's your thought?
My ultimate love is performing, and I think that will always be what I pursue. The puppet building has helped financially when I need it, and also as a creative outlet, because I'm a very introverted person. I love being able to go and perform and then come home and be alone in my shop, just tinkering with foam. I love that aspect to it. So I'll probably always be a puppet builder, whether I build for the public or more as just kind of an instructional thing where I teach it on YouTube or a website.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Wow.
Matt, you're gushing right now. I love
Mickey,
it.
I'm sorry, Mickey and Paul. I just keep asking. I love it. Keep dawning on me. I'm just asking. I can't help throwing them out there. Yeah.
I'm a huge fan, man. I said, I used to. I dabbled in that for a little while with fabricating puppets for when the kids were little, and then just seeing them get torn to shreds, really. So now when I make things, I hide them on shelves, like I showed you with the animal mascot head.
Okay. Grab animal. That thing's impressive.
Yeah, let's grab them.
I gotta see animal. If this is a Carvers Creators first, we get to see a puppet.
I feel like I've done this before. No,
I don't know. I don't know if it's been publicly shared.
Or you might have done it off camera.
Oh yeah, there's been many off camera things.
Oh. But
It
Paul's a drummer, so I imagine you probably play the drum with that on.
Yes, I had the whole outfit though. I made the whole thing.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, I got everything. It's real. You know what it isn't? It isn't cold. It heats up instantly.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's nice. Then I usually end up wearing it like this, and then I just look real cool.
Now carve with those mittens on there.
Yeah.
That's a real challenge. Wow.
Well, for the first hour and a half, it feels like I am anyway. I feel useless.
Yeah.
And you said that was from the original, like Henson
The
patterns?
Yeah. Well, the patterns, I searched and searched, and there were a couple of patterns, and I was able to I pieced it together, and I scaled it up. I did a lot of computer work to get the dimensions correct. So, a puppet's this big, the pattern would lay out, to whatever. No. So I took a picture of my head, took a picture of animal, like just a clip art, and then overlaid them, changed the opacity so I could see where my head would sit inside, then measured that photo, and then scaled up the pattern that big and plotted it out on 4 foot by 3 foot sheets.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, for you hobbyists that want to get out there and get into mascot building and stuff, or build puppets like Landon, not a lot of work involved. Just,
piece of cake.
No overthinking at all.
Yeah.
But you know what is like Land? That's like the one iconic puppet to me. I mean, they're all iconic, obviously, but Stadler and Waldorf and Animal were like three. Even as a small child, I would just belly laugh whatever they came on. So yeah, that's next is my next mission. When I have time, is to actually build the upper. I want to build the whole balcony setup and do an actual to scale Stadler and Waldorf just in the balcony box.
That would be awesome.
Fantastic.
Off limits to kids, off limits to adults. For me to spend hours and hours being like a lunatic just to hang something on a wall. That's
oh my gosh. And what's crazy is after shows, sometimes I'll do like a thing where people can take photos with the puppets or whatever. And sometimes the adults can be just as grabby as the kids. It's crazy.
Oh, you're right.
I totally get it. Yeah. But oh my gosh, it's something.
Well, your Mervin is a kind of a throwback to the Stadler and Waldorf. Like he's got that, and even the one you were just showing us, the old man that you're creating, kind of has a giant exaggerated chin and the nose and the big ears and exactly. Those are so I love the features the facial features you can get out of those things are so you can exactly see what it's going to be. That's so cool.
Yeah. I that's kind of how I look at it. Like if it looks cartoony enough just with the foam on, then I'm ready to cover it. If it's missing something, I'll leave it alone and come back to it. But it has to really take character and foam before I cover it. Otherwise, it's not defined enough. But even Mervin that's like the third version of Mervin, because Mervin was one of the first puppets that I built, and he's gotten smaller because for some reason when you begin puppet building, you always build bigger and then you kind of scale down. But he's due for a rebuild because I want his face to be a little bit more narrow, and there's some things I want to clean up with the actual design of the puppet. But that puppet's like probably 4 or 5 years old.
Oh wow!
So yeah, but he's probably the closest thing I have to like a Muppet in terms of like the pie plate mouth.
Okay.
And the way that his mouth looks and all that. So. Pretty cool.
I mean, there's always the innovation in puppetry, and like when you have the maggot, that's seriously a big jump forward. So have are you now in your mind thinking of things you can do beyond the pie plate mouth and the those kind of things that are gonna in each character now you kind of feel you need to add something?
Not necessarily. Sometimes I'll think of character ideas that are just great and out there. That I want to do, but I don't really have the time to, so I'll scribble them down and save it for, when I actually have the funds or whatever down the road. And sometimes I talk to friends who have ideas that are just great, and I'll say, hey, can I use that for a puppet, or can I take that aspect and put it to this character? My puppet Bill the Zombie was originally a chicken that had that voice and that fell apart, and for the longest time the puppet was built and the bit was there, but it didn't quite work the way I was hoping it would. And I kind of shelved the puppet. And then I later on realized the zombie puppet would be funny. And then I was talking to a friend of mine and he goes, well, you had that chicken that fell apart. Why don't you just do the same with the zombie? And so then I made it where, all of Bill's limbs can fall off, and he does a bit with that, and that kills, and that works really well. So sometimes things will work with one puppet that didn't with the other, but you can still take the premise. You know what I mean?
Right. So, and the fact that Bill's limbs come off is another cool gag. It's like, it's a great. So just Velcro, I imagine, like you can pop those back in and easily. And
yeah, it's he sings the song "All of Me," and we call a lady up from the audience, and he falls apart. His limbs fall off into her lap, and then he sneezes and his head flies off, which is like a whole nother thing. And that I thought of, I just kind of like saw it and me performing it in my mind, and I go, I gotta commit to that. And so there's a way where I can detach his head and it flies off, and then the body, along with the score of the music, when it ends, it kind of falls on the stage right to the beat. But he's got limbs. Let's see if I can do it. Can you do it? Yeah. Okay. I hate that he puts me through this. All right, sit up. Okay. They just pull off, and they're magnets right there.
Oh, magnets. Okay.
So you can easily put them back together. And let's see, like if you got a leg, that's just magnetic. And this is the easiest puppet to travel with because I built a foam. He's essentially a foam skeleton. So I've used this foam called L200 and made a foam skeleton for him. So when I fly with him, the head goes in a carry-on, and then the body detaches from the head, and it goes in my backpack that goes underneath the seat.
those poor TSA people. Like, okay, what is this?
Yeah, it's you got anything questionable in here? Yeah, a body. All right, continue.
And a head. And a head to my backpack.
The maggot shows up in their screening system. It's great. Yeah.
Thank you, Bill.
Thanks. Yeah, there you go.
But I also like that I was showing this picture before that you learn from people that are influential in ventriloquism, and so like you're actually getting out there and then learning from these masters. So this is Jimmy Nelson, and when did you meet him?
I think I was probably 15 or 16. I was probably 16 in that photo, which I look like a lot younger than that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that was at the ventriloquist convention again, and he went there, I believe, almost every year. He was a big, iconic ventriloquist. He's known for the Nestle commercial that he did with Danny O'Day and Farfel, but along with many other projects and things that he's been a part of. But he is the biggest contributor to the art of ventriloquism that I've ever met. And he was always, young or old, people knew Jimmy Nelson at the convention, and he was so willing to take a photo. And having this photo means the world to me, like the one with Willie, Tyler, and Lester, because it's just such a neat photo. That was the original Mervyn puppet. And I'm on the second version of that puppet now, but that's the original, the puppet with Jimmy Nelson, of course. And Jimmy Nelson was just such a nice guy and inspiration to everything that I've done. And I got to talk with his son, Lee J, last year at convention. And he's like, oh, I know you. My dad talked about you. And that just, oh my gosh, it's like Jimmy Nelson talked about me. And, in terms of like the future of ventriloquism and the art. And it's such a, the art means so much to me. And it's such a, you're here. I'm not really surrounded by any other ventriloquists, and so it's such a specific thing to what I do, that realizing that other people do ventriloquism and kind of have seen me within the element of it is just it's so out there and crazy. Like the whole like TikTok thing is crazy to me. So knowing that Jimmy Nelson had seen me and gone, yeah, he's gonna be something, is just crazy.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And Jimmy Nelson, unfortunately, he passed away in 2019. Mm-hmm. But at 21, your age, he was on the Ed Sullivan Show, which at the time, being seen around, anybody that had a television set saw this Saw this guy. So it was humongous, but like in a sense, like you have that sort of following, I would say.
Yeah. I know they didn't have TikTok back then, and we don't have the Ed Sullivan Show now, but yeah, it is interesting how things have changed. I know that Dunham, with his career, he got popular off of because he posted his stuff on YouTube, and so it's always interesting. And I encourage a lot of my fellow ventriloquist friends to get out there, and if they want to become known, to put their stuff out there, because that's the best way that people will see you. But it's definitely neat to see the way that ventriloquism has taken in different generations. How Dunham's made it popular, and how Terry Fader has introduced it, and even Darcy Lynn, who was on America's Got Talent a few years ago and is touring, and me, a TikTok vent, and everyone else. It's neat. It's neat to be everyone's under the art, but we're all doing our own thing. And that's Darcy. There you go.
Oh, cool.
Oh, wow.
My table. We took that photo. Yep.
Okay.
At the ventriloquist convention last year. And
now I don't know her work. So tell us about her, because she looks like she got a pretty awesome looking puppet there.
Yeah, I did not build that, but that puppet was by Barry Gordimer of Handemonium, and he's one of the vendors there, and she was there for a workshop. She not a workshop, a lecture. They brought Darcy in, and she kind of talked about her America's Got Talent experience and everything that she's been working on. And she went in the dealer's room and kind of met with people. I met Darcy back a while back. We were both called to audition for America's Got Talent in Austin, Texas. And I was there with my dummy and working in this room. This is when they call you, so you can audition, but then they can also call you to come audition, where you have a time slot and you see the producer, and then if that goes, you see the higher up producer, and it's like,
okay.
And so I'm working with my dummy and practicing my routine before I go into audition, and I hear Landon, and I turn around and it's Darcy, and I go, yeah, this is not going to be my year. And then of course, they had her on America's Got Talent. She ended up getting the golden buzzer and then winning, and her career has exploded since then. So it's been neat to catch up with her. We caught up at the ventriloquist convention, and that was after I'd done I was at Silver Dollar City in Branson for a while, and been doing shows there. And then I built a bunch of puppets and brought them as a vendor, and under the original dummy, and sold puppets at the ventriloquist convention. So we met up and took that photo with both of our characters, and she's also on TikTok and all that. And
okay.
So it's neat. Yeah, there's all different levels of this art, whether you're a hobbyist or a professional or in between.
Amazing.
So the totally random question, because I got asked to do some pumpkin thing one time by Silver Dollar City years ago, when it never fleshed out, which is totally fine. But so doing gigs like that, where you're doing kind of performances, like are those kind of similar to what you do now? Like you do your full stage performance at an event like that, or at a I guess that's like a theme park, right? So you do it at a theme park. So you have your same props, same everything, same act kind of thing.
Yeah, it's pretty close to the same act. It's not the act that I would want to be doing if I went pro, because when you're outside, I performed outside in 95-degree heat, and you kind of have to adapt your show to fit the audience, and everything that lends you there.
Right.
So when people are more comfortable, they're in a room with AC, and they came to see you. You can try new material, and people understand your rhythm and your nuance. But when you're part of something else, you're just there to fill seats and entertain people. And so I am fortunate for that opportunity, because I needed to learn that skill, and I hadn't learned that yet. And I also got to try. I got to try new material, but I created new material from figuring out that the stuff that I thought would work for that audience didn't. So it was a real growing experience.
That's like a theme, though, and what you've said a couple of times is like you when you learn from those failures and like make those become the next cool thing, or the next I think it's for people your age, and I totally sound like an old man at this point. Sorry, but for people your age, I think
People your age.
people get. I think that gets lost on a lot of younger individuals because they're like, oh, I'll just screw it. I'll just, I'm not gonna follow that path because this was too hard. Versus getting a bunch of failure, getting rejected, having something bad happen in a show effectively that turns it into something. Well, you know what? I'm going to work harder now. It's like I love hearing that. That's really cool because it inevitably makes you work harder and then therefore get better at your craft, which is kind of what we do every single week, even though we can't find all the right produce.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, but like with you guys and what you do, you are fantastic carvers and you have a passion for it. And I have a passion for what I do, and I think that's important to follow the passion and the love for the art and what you pursue. Otherwise, it's a lot easier to quit. You can just go, okay, whatever. I'm not gonna take up that. So I've always had a passion for this, and I've devoted so much blood, sweat, and tears and everything else into it that it's just become my life, really.
Absolutely.
Well, you said it there. It has to be something that you would do even if you weren't getting paid, right?
Yeah.
So something that you want to be doing regardless of financial gain or career gain. Like this is a hobby. This is my safe space, my therapy.
Yeah.
Right. I'm so comfortable and so calm when I'm doing this that the moment I stop, it's like all the bells and whistles are going off in your head, like, life, and then it's like sit down, and whether it's with clay or squash or anything, it's so therapeutic. And
That's great.
To have people want to hire you for something that you genuinely love to do it's the dream.
Yeah,
sure.
And then you would be doing it anyway. Yeah, you'd be doing it anyway. And you're getting paid to do it. That's the best part.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I try to grow in everything, whether it's, I have a bit that always works for Mervin, and then I, change this thing or add this joke to it and makes it that much better. And I get to perform that. And then I'm like, oh, I actually am making money and I'm able to grow and this and that. And it's like, it's the dream. I love it. And I look forward to every show and every opportunity to, make people laugh. And that was the neat thing about working at that theme park is that I thought that I thought that my comedy would be more for families, and I realized that I would have kids my age after the show come up to me and say, hey, I really enjoyed that, or hey, can I get a photo or this or that? And I realized how I can relate to different people in the audience through the characters, and it was really something I never really considered beforehand.
Like for an older character, you can relate to an older person type of thing.
Yeah, and then how also just like it happened at that park and also on TikTok. I thought like a certain demographic was following me. Like I'll have like kids that follow me because I am a ventriloquist with puppets, but or like I have more, and I ended up having more adults that were following me along with their families.
Right.
So it's just kind of interesting. You think that you're catering or known to this one group of people, and it turns out that it's just kind of all over the place. But it's neat because you get to hone in different pockets. So like when I do a TikTok live stream, I have people that tune in for certain puppets, and that kind of usually goes with their age range or their gender or whatever, and I'm able to fulfill that and cater to that. Some people want to see Bill the Zombie, others want to see Biscuit or Mervin or Jackie. So
so good. Well, there was a question. What's your next big goal? So what's the crazy thing that you're going to do next?
I have a few new characters in the works. One of them involves more of a classic ventriloquist dummy look. And I haven't done that yet. So most of all the puppets that I perform with are soft puppets, but I wanted to make more of a hard figure, and I've sculpted it, and it's kind of a secret project, but I've sculpted it and I'm very satisfied with the sculpt. And so I'm working on getting that created. I'd love to go on tour. I'm trying to figure out how to make that a thing. And then just working any show as much as possible anywhere, and just getting time on the boards. There's a ventriloquist named Sammy King, and he has a book called Time on the Boards, talking about, how you need time on the boards of the stage to really hone your craft, and it's very important.
Yeah.
So just, being able to grow with every show, and of course having the end goal. I'd love to be somewhere where like Dunham is today in terms of popularity. But then I'd love to give back to the community like Jimmy Nelson did. And so I have little things that, I try whenever someone like messages me on Instagram and asks me, how did you become a ventriloquist? I always like want to answer back or send them to a video that will, help inspire them. I really want to be a presence within the art as well as a performer within comedy.
Smart.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a ton of goals to unpack. When it comes to like trying to, do all of that stuff when you're 21, you got a big road ahead of you. And I honestly, I can't help but to think when I was 21, how completely ridiculously lost I was compared to like where you're like focused, which is so cool. I'm just I'm excited for you, and we'll certainly be your fans going forward. But I'm just enamored with the fact that you've got this kind of focus at age 21, which is awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Something I don't share.
Stop talking about your age, I promise.
Yeah.
No, but people do say that, they're like, you're really good for your age. And that kind of drove me to be that much better of a builder and a performer. Cause I'm like, I just want to be good. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be you to be able to compare me to the other people,
Right.
But yeah, when I was younger, I had a few different health complications, crazy stuff. Like I was 6 years old and I had to get go into surgery to get like kidney stones removed. And then in elementary school, I found out I had Crohn's and epilepsy. And since then I've grown out of the epilepsy, but just things through that have kind of aged me in terms of how I see the world and things that I want to achieve. And, it's taught me that life is short and that I want to be able, I've been in the hospital bed so much and in and out of the hospital that like laughter is so important to me. And so all of these elements from my childhood have kind of come back to build me and push me more to become a performer and a ventriloquist. And I've never really thought of it like that, but they really have. Yeah.
Wow.
I think that also, we come from a place also where like, growing up, I know growing up for me, it was like art wasn't like seen as like a vocation. It seemed like something you do, but people don't grow up to be artists per se. And, through like computers and stuff like that. So I grew up on computers. I mean, I had like the first Photoshop, like in vocation. It was like a high school class. And I had like first Illustrator and Photoshop, and it wasn't even a thing. And now it's like a thing. So like when we were talking about like how you've taken advantage of like a lot of stuff, like in Instagram, like you can find all these great artists, but before it was like, you just happened to like stumble across these artists, maybe like through us, like Mad Magazine and movies and TV and like Matt and I grew up on this television show called Wallace and Ladmo. And at the time it was like from, I don't know, I think they started like the 50s and it kind of went to the 80s when we were teenagers. But they had a lot of puppetry on there as well. And in fact, I can't remember the name, Matt, maybe you can remember it was like a kind of a Jeff Dunham type person. I'm it's slipping my tongue. But
his name is Dan Horn.
Dan Horn. Oh my God.
Wow.
You know the name.
Thank you, Landon.
Oh my
That's
God.
awesome.
But even that, knowing that and having that history and that knowledge, it puts you so far ahead of like there's no reason why you should know Dan Horn, but you do because of like YouTube probably and other research and other people talking about him.
I'm friends with him.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. He comes to the convention every year, and I built a few puppets for him, and he's been another big inspiration. He's probably the best soft puppet manipulator. He does these things with arm rods and has really inspired me in how a puppet can be manipulated and brought to life on stage. And I've watched hours of his stuff on Wallace and Ladmo and meeting with him at convention and everything. And I was in the junior mic competition for 3 years in a row at the convention, and I won first place and all that. But he was always the judge throughout there, so he kind of saw me grow up. Yeah, and he's you know he's a friend of mine, and yeah, it's neat. So yeah.
Wow, that's a total serendipity because we grew up in Phoenix, and there's no other reason we would have seen any of that had it not been for us growing up during that time period. So that's amazing that you, and it said you interviewed him as well.
Yeah, I had him on my show on Landon Live.
Yeah, that's what Kimberly said. That's amazing.
Oh my God!
Wow, what a small world, right, Matt?
I just for people outside of Phoenix to know what Wallace and Ladmo is kind of strange. So the fact that that Landon knows who he is really cool. That's awesome. Because
for those who don't know, it was kind of like Bozo for like Phoenix. It was like the Bozo
right.
show.
It's like Bozo the Clown, like a couple of goofy guys, and they would give out Ladmo bags, which were for the local Girl Scout troop or something like that would come in, but they would show cartoons in the morning. It was a thing you'd sit there eating your cereal, looking at the TV. And you'd watch, Wallace and Ladmo do their morning,
little skits and stuff like that.
The Clown kind of skits,
Yeah, totally. And I can say that I was on the Wallace and Ladmo show, 1976.
Wow, cool. Look at you.
Look at me now. I'm on the Carvers and Creators show, big time.
1977, or whatever.
Yes. So, as I told you, Landon, we told you at the beginning of the show, this is the fastest 90 minutes on the internet. So we're at 75 minutes, but I wanted to go around and see what Matt and Paul are doing. So Matt, I'm going to solo in on you so you can tell us what your
no, don't do it. Okay. All right. So I got a kabocha squash, much like this, and I'm going sideways like Paul did last week.
Atta boy.
So so right now I keep thinking in my head drunk because this person is drunk. So I'm going to add that probably later in some form of the expression, but I'm going with the lips. And Paul, I saw that you're doing lips, but I'm going to go a different route. It's going to be completely botched. Tiny little, chiseled, way too chiseled Michael Jackson nose will get in there somehow. But right now it's just kind of the blocked out, form of my buddy,
Nice.
Looking good, Mortimer.
Oh man, you made some progress.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You see what happens when I ask like 50,000 questions?
Still blocking, constantly blocking. But yeah, I mean, when you think of botched plastic surgery, you think of gigantic lips, terrible nose job, and fillers. So I'm going to kind of go, because of the shape of this, I'll go super cartoony and kind of stretch out the eye sockets. Kind of like, the lady has a little bit too much. I'm thinking more like Tammy Faye.
Oh, awesome.
You know what I mean? Up here, so maybe there's some bouffontness going on over there. But I completely forgot that it was drunk.
Wait, don't worry. She looks
botched plastic surgery. 3 words. One more than I'm usually supposed to handle when it comes to. I'm like, but. So don't worry. She'll be stewed tomatoes by the time I'm done with it.
There we go.
Could end up being a guy. I don't even know. It's gonna change.
Wow.
No idea where I'm going.
It was a guy that had plastic surgery. It turned into a woman, but just through plastic surgery.
Yeah, I'll give him a beard at the end of it all. Make him beautiful, but with a beard. They did no microdermabrasion.
Amazing.
I wanted to play along with the theme, but I didn't. All my clay is being occupied by my next puppet build, so I couldn't do that. So I'm working on a sketch, and just like Matt just said, I totally forgot that it was drunk. So I'm kind of working on that. But here's my woman that's all over the place here.
Oh, nice. She looks hammered.
Yeah.
She's got a bottle that's tipped over there. I love that.
I love it.
Yeah, so.
That's great.
Playing along with that here. Yeah.
See, I'm gonna go.
I like the one squinty eye, like just.
But when you're drunk, you don't know it's the squinty eye. You think you're like fabulous.
Yeah, you think you're coherent. Yeah.
Well, I'd look at it this way. Anybody that gets that much plastic surgery is probably drunk to begin with. So it's implied.
That's awesome.
So my girlfriend, she had a comment. I'm glad you're bringing the humor and laughter to others. Thank you for sharing your journey. But I also wanted to share something that she is going to dig incredibly. You got to meet, Melissa, the Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yes, Christy Swanson.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, the movie. That's right.
Yeah.
And for me, she was in the Ferris Bueller. She was when they did that classroom scene where she told that he wasn't in the class and the reason why. So, and then she's in a whole bunch of other movies too, which
that's right.
I could mark out about. But tell me more about this.
Yeah, so it's kind of, you know one famous person, and then you can meet others, right? So I was in Vegas for the Scott and Lisa Land workshop where I got to meet Copperfield. And then in between, on the off days of that, I stayed, I went over and met with Terry Fader. And I said, hey, you want to come see my show tonight? And I said, sure. And he goes, Christy Swanson's going to be there. I said, really? And he goes, yeah. So I ended up bringing Bill the Zombie along, and who Terry's a big fan of what I do and the zombie character that I've created. And he said, go ahead and perform for Christy. So I'm backstage before Terry Fader's about to go on, performing my little zombie routine for Christy Swanson and her mother and father. And then we all ended up going to dinner afterwards. And then she said, hey, I'm at this convention tomorrow called Days of the Dead, and you should come by and with Bill the Zombie. So I brought by and I hung out at her table and got to see what that was like. It was my first convention like that I got to attend, and we got to take a bunch of goofy, fun photos, and we printed those and she signed some for me. So I have that one on my wall over here of all my celebrities and famous friends. Yeah.
Yes.
Right on.
And here's the quote that she did in Ferris Bueller, which is it's amazing. And I love it so much. And Matt, I want you, Matt and Paul, I want you to look at the lanyard. It's Doug Henning.
Oh, Doug Henning, yeah.
You can't. I should have cued in on it, but it's like it's to me. What's up with that? I mean, I love Doug Henning, so it's like amazing.
Yeah, it was strange. She said here, put this on Bill. It said celebrity on the bottom because they gave it to her and she let me keep it. So I have it over here on my wall too. But yeah, fantastic. It was fun. Yeah.
So good. So good. Well, I wanted to show really quick. I'm just gonna flip through these because we have so much that we did not talk about, but I wanted to go through them really quickly. So, I mean, you really get out there. I mean, there's so much stuff.
Now, this one's, I mean, they're all impressive, but this one is the most impressive to me because it's not balloons, right? Is it balloons? It can't be balloons.
But the one I'm holding is a balloon puppet. Yes.
All right, thank God, because I'm like, this guy's out of his. This is, I've never seen this. But just so you know, that should be your next build: is figure out a way to make a balloon animal puppet like that. Because I thought that was an actual puppet, and I stayed at that picture for 20 minutes trying to figure out how you did it.
It is, Axel Expressions. Steve Axel, who's another friend of mine, he builds this thing called the Twist and Talk, and it's a structure where you can twist balloons and put them over it, and then you have a puppet. So that's pretty cool. Something else to look into. But that guy's name is Phil Nichols. He's a ventriloquist and a clown and a magician. He does everything. And that was at a convention in Galveston, which I attended because I'm wanting to get into the fair market, and he had a booth there, and so I stopped by and we talked shop. And of course, he had his character. He builds puppets. He builds ventriloquist figures, and that's his character Bosworth the Crow that he's holding. And I'm pretty sure that's he's in clown makeup there. So we got to take that photo and talk shop, and it's neat. He's an artist himself, and he used to do a bunch of like special effects stuff, and then he got into the entertainment industry and performs all over. So
wow.
Yeah,
very cool.
So
Mickey, I know you have a ton of pictures to still show, but with only like 6 minutes left, we gotta put Landon on the spot, and we gotta see some more of your magic when it comes to your ventriloquism. I'm enamored, so I'd love to if I could just ask for a little more.
Oh, okay. Gosh, let's see. I have Bill. I can get him back out. You guys can ask him questions or whatever. Unless you want to meet another character, which I can go get real quick.
Well, sure. Yeah, sure. Whatever you got.
We'll be really quick here. Let's see where he is.
Sorry, I didn't mean to put him on the spot, but I'm like, if you haven't gone to his site and seen the things he can do, it is. Oh, well, hello.
Hey, how's it going? Good to see you. Hello there. This is Jackie. I'm the Jackalope. Right, I'm from Wyoming. Right, ain't that right, Kip? Kip is Jackie's imaginary friend. Yes. Happy to be here. I love this on Carvers and Creators. I knew that. All right. This is Jackie the Jackalope, and let's see if you can see his full little body there. He's got some little bunny feet. I do. And a jackalope is part rabbit, part antelope. Right. Yes. He's got the little antlers there. And I do a lot of shows with Jackie at Silver Dollar City, and he's one of my main characters. He's got a lot more energy. I do. Right. Yes. And he's fun. So
how old is he?
Unknown. Right. Yes. No one knows how old I am. Right. I'm like Charlie Sheen or something. Right. Yes. So he's I can kind of use him to play to any audience, which is kind of neat. Like he's great for kids because he's bouncy and he can be goofy, but then I can age him up for adult audiences. So it's having like a character that works for that, which is a lot of fun, which is I think what Jeff Dunham did with Peanut for a while when he would play different markets. Sure. Right. Yeah.
He's great. That's a crazy good build too. I mean, that thing's solid, huh? That's a great build.
Yeah, he's crazy. Puppet. And the crazy thing is building a puppet with a soft puppet with ears like this that stick up, which have a frame inside the foam head, and getting them to stay up was the challenge. And of course, I'm big into textures. So, his antlers have their own, they actually are hard, but they sculpted those out of foam and painted them and did all that detail. So I spend a lot of time on these guys just for the performance, but I'm really into the big eyes. I usually build all my puppets are bigger than a typical ventriloquist soft puppet because I want people to see it from afar and I want it to compete with me on stage, and what should I do? Right. Yes. And he's, I want people to have distinguished enough looks to be memorable is what I go for. So
nailed it.
Detailed enough, but cartoony enough to be simplified if they were to be, caricaturized or in a cartoon form. So that's Jackie.
So
fantastic.
I got a question for Jackie.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, just when you talk, it doesn't look like Landon's talking at all. I mean, I know that's part of the magic, but do you have to practice that, Jackie?
It comes naturally. It does. Yes. If he's doing his job, right, he should just look like he's sitting there. Right. Yes. That's usually how it goes.
That's awesome.
He's doing his job. You
sure.
You got a good friend there.
A little bit. Okay. Yeah, and then you can have Bill the zombie. Hey, help me, get me out of here. Calm down. Sorry.
Oh.
Did he talk? He did. That was weird. Yeah. I know you threw your voice a little bit. Okay. Yeah. So you can do that. And sometimes I have the characters interact with each other on stage or on live streams or whatever. And that adds, the realism to it. So
yeah, the conversations you have with them are what I know that part of ventriloquism is to draw your eye to the puppet.
Sure.
And that's and the way you're so expertly have him looking at you and the audience and being that live character is just magical. That's the part. And I want to talk to him. I'm like, Landon, we've had our time with you, but let's talk to Jeff.
I've been sitting here through the entire thing, and I've heard Landon talk enough, so it's okay if you ask me questions. Yeah. But you know what it is. And people tell you that when you start ventriloquism, they're like, record everything you perform and go back and cover up you when you perform and look at the puppet. The puppet needs to be animated and alive, and then watch over again, cover up the puppet, and look at you. You know, you got to make sure that you're reacting to everything the puppet says, and that the characters are different. And there's so many elements that go into making this look effortless. But yeah, I mean, I've been doing this for almost over 15 years. Ventriloquism, just the art, for over 15 years. So I've had a lot of time to myself. I guess.
Yeah. Well, it's paying off because it's pretty outstanding.
Well, just remember this little show that you happened upon. 10 years from now when you're headlining in Vegas, and we want front row seats. I'm sorry, I mean, that's just gonna happen.
Of course,
now.
Yes. Oh, for sure. Right. I think I can pull some strings. Right.
You go, guy.
Sure. Yeah. He's my right hand man, literally. Right.
So to see more of Landon, go to his TikTok. You're also on Instagram. You're everywhere. You're on every social media platform.
Every social media at Landon Venting. You can follow us at YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. We're all there. Facebook.
All of you are there.
Yeah.
All of them.
So good. So good. Well, this is where you can find us. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch. Landon, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure, and
likewise.
I love meeting all your extended family as well.
All my multiple personalities, yeah.
I got control now.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Look out.
Well, it's sinking, right? Bluetooth hand, right? Yeah. Whoa.
Well, it's a pleasure. Check us out next Thursday, another Carvers and Creators. And Landon, we're gonna have to have you back because I'm thinking that we should have Landon and Terry on together. That'd be fantastic.
That'd be cool. Love that.
Oh,
yeah.
You should all do puppets.
There you
gotta
go.
do it. It's a thing, Mickey. You're onto something. This is great. Okay.
There you go. There you go. So, Landon, thank you for joining. Matt and Paul, any last words before we sign off?
Follow that guy.
Yes.
He needs more followers on TikTok. If you guys,
Or a little low, right?
2 million or bust, right?
Exactly. There you go. Another goal to set. Right. Yes. Yeah.
Right.
All right. So we'll see you next Thursday. Good night, everyone. Take care.
Bye, guys.
Good night, everybody.
Okay.